In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on a Hyundai Sante Fe with a 2.4 liter. Once you have the hood open, you're going to locate the oil fill cap. I like to just take the cap off and confirm the type of oil that I'm going to be using. In this particular model says SAE 5W20. So the manual is also inside and you can look it up. It might have an option with the altitude that you live at. It could be 530, 540, 520, but in this particular case it says 520 and that's what we're going to be using. So now I have it set up on the lift, I'm going to raise it up and we're going to drain the oil. So now that the vehicle is lifted up in the air, we can see there's a big plastic shroud underneath here, but the good news is we don't need to take it all down. They make a little trap door right here. It says engine oil. So we'll take this door down and that will be where the drain plug to the oil pan is. And then closer to the front bumper is a nice little cap that has the oil filter in it. So we'll take that cap down to take the oil filter out. And I'm going to start with the drain plug because I like to do that first. So with a little screwdriver, or you can use a trim tool, I'm going to pull this cover down like that. And I'm going to find my drain plug right there. So you can see the drain plug right here. And it is a 16mm socket. You can use a wrench on it, but with that plastic shield there, it's kind of hard. So I'm going to just use a whole socket and ratchet set. Break it free. Make sure you have your catch basin right here below. Now I like to push on it while I'm turning it, the threads out, so that way I know I'm on the last one, so I can remove my hand quickly. And then we'll catch it right in the oil pan. So every drain plug for an oil pan has a gasket. Some are part of the drain plug and others are rubber or cork material. Some are aluminum or plastic. This is a new one. I always recommend replacing them because if you torque them correctly, you'll have like a little bit of a lip or a grind mark in it. And you can see that one has it right there. It's not worth it to have it leak on you, so you put a new one right on and you discard that one, throw it right out. So I'm going to just take my drain plug, recenter it, and then snug it up by hand. There we go. And now I'll get my 16mm socket and my torque wrench. So the torque on this drain plug is 25 to 33 foot-pounds. I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm just going to go 29 and see how that feels. Snug it up, and then 29 foot-pounds. Yeah, I like that. Now I'll clean that and I'll put that cover back on. So I'll just take some parts cleaner, clean that. Didn't really make a big mess. And I always like to wipe it dry just to confirm. And then I'll take my plastic cover. It's got that little arrow so that part goes in first, and then you just snap this up into place. Now we're going to move forward to that oil filter. So you can see clearly marked oil filter cap. We've got 3 tabs here. I'm going to push all 3 in with my fingers, pull it down, and just pull that cap right out. And now you can clearly see the oil filter up there, and we'll get our oil filter wrench. So now with my catch basin right below it, I'm going to take my oil filter wrench. It's like a little twisty style, 3/8 ratchet extension. And now it's loose enough for me to use my hands. This can be kind of messy, so I like to just let it see if it drains. There we go. I'm just going to let that drain out for just a little bit before I continue spinning that off. All right, so now I'm just going to grab this filter, try to do this as quickly as I can without dropping it. You'll feel it kind of wobble in the last thread, and just bring it right down. So here's my new oil filter, and I opened up one of the quarts of oil, and I'm going to prime my filter. Some people like to do this, some people say you don't need to. But the way I look at it is, it doesn't hurt to do it, so I just recommend doing it. And you'll let it sit for a bit, and you'll start to see the oil level go down inside the middle of that chamber, just soaking up the filter. You don't have to go over the top with it. As long as it's got some oil in there, it'll help prime it. Then I'll take a dab of the fresh oil, and I like to coat the new gasket. That way it doesn't get stuck up there once it's on. So now where the dripping is down to a minimal, I'm gonna take a clean rag and I'm gonna clean the surface. That flat surface right there, that is where your oil filter sits. And I'm not gonna spray any parts cleaner up there because I don't want any getting into the block. I'm just gonna keep that rag right there. Give it one quick last little wipe. And then we have our new filter with the seal's been lubed up. There we go. Now it just bottomed out right there. The key is not to use a wrench on the new filter because you can damage it. So a nice quarter turn once it bottoms out. And that is tight enough. Now with the new filter on, now it's clear to clean with some parts cleaner, just in case we spilt any on the block. Get this shield cleaned up. You don't want this dripping out because that will go all over the driveway, and that's not really what we signed up for, is it? All right, now we can take our plastic cover. You know, line that tab up right there, center it, push it up in, and you'll have those 3 parts click right in. All right, so now we're just gonna take that oil filler cap off again. We showed you in the beginning. I'll take a funnel, put the funnel right in there, and then we'll just start putting the quarts in. Now this takes 5.1 quarts of 5W20. I always use full synthetic. So we'll let that drain. All right, so this is our 5th quart. Try to get the rest of it down there. And I already opened up the 6th quart. We're gonna do that 0.1. So. A little bit more. Now I'm gonna let that funnel drain for a little bit. I'll put the cover on and we'll start this. Run it for like 2 minutes, make sure there's oil lights on the dash, everything goes out. Then we'll shut it off. I like to let it sit for about 10 minutes. We'll pull the dipstick and check the oil level. So let's get this out of the way. Put the cover back on. Turn that clockwise. You're gonna hear it click. Now we can go start the car. So we've let it sit here for about almost 10 minutes. You pull the dipstick, take a rag and clean that. Now let's look and see if we can see clearly the markings on this. So you have these 2 dimples right here, 1 and 2. You see an F for full and L for low. So let all that oil drain back down in that pan and let's take our reading. Just for a second, bring it down. Look at that. And that 0.1 paid off. It's right there. We're right at the full mark. So, good job. We're all set. So line that back up. Make sure it seats on those O-rings. Push it right down that tube. And you're ready to go. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.